Hey, what's up? I'm Angie. This is New Path Tarot. We're going to do a pick a card style reading today. I don't know what we're going to talk about yet, so you'll kind of have an indication of what we're going to talk about based on what the title is and the description. But I kind of like to be blank and then just see what comes through, you know? Okay, so I have 3 piles already pre-selected. You're going to pick which one feels like most aligned with you right now, okay? So the first one is reflect. The second one is strength. And keep in mind, you could be drawn to more than one. Just start with the one that's the strongest energy. And if you get kind of like a blah feeling, like none of them really are talking to you right now, you just might not need the messages that are in it right now. Third one is Ascension. Okay. So I'll hold them up for you. I think I did alright, right? I always get this backwards. Reflect, strength, and ascension. Okay. Aren't they pretty? I can't get over them. Okay, so if you're pile 1, we'll start now, and if you're 2 or 3, go ahead and skip to your pile. So these are some cards I'm using from the store here. Oracle of Mystical Moments. I almost said magical moments. Anyway, I haven't used these cards, and I don't know, they looked cool. I wanted to see what they're all about. So your main card is Reflect and Protective Nest, Night Ride. Ooh, Reflect and Night Ride. That's like perfect. If you know what I mean, you already know what I mean. Butterfly Garden. I'll hold these up in a minute. The problem with using new cards that I've never looked at before is that I don't know what they are. I'm like, okay, all is connected. All right, let's start with that. Protective Nest. Night Ride. Notice the owls. Butterfly Garden. And all is connected. All right, I'm already getting a lot of different kind of messages coming in. So the first thing I want to start with is, you'll know this is the right pile for you if what I'm about to say applies to you. Have you been having a lot of ups and downs with your emotions? Really high highs, like you're doing great, really low lows where you're really emotional. I've been seeing that a lot with people lately, where they're just fluctuating very like sporadically, lots of shifting. You're going through an awakening, an ascension, something. Why put a label on it except to, if you want to research it further and understand what's going on better. But just trust that what you're going through right now is a phase. Sometimes you wonder, is this like how I'm going to be forever now? No. But you're probably integrating a lot of collective stuff right now. There's so much crap going on, and so it might not all be you, and you're probably an empath. So second thing coming through is with the Night Ride. I mean, with Reflect, you're probably doing a lot of thinking lately. Night Ride to me is, sometimes I just like to I don't lately, but in the past, especially when I had a lot to think about, I would go in the car at night, windows down, listen to music. Sometimes just not even think about anything, you just listen to the music. And if you listen to music from back in the day, when your life circumstances were different and you felt a different kind of way about life, it can put you back there. So kind of the feeling I'm getting is, let your imagination run wild with this. Put yourself in a place, in a different place, than you might be. You got to take yourself out of your current drama sometimes. You get so stuck in, this is what my life is. Well, this isn't what your life was 5 years ago, and it's not what your life will be 5 years from now. And you don't know what your life will be like 5 years from now. Anything can happen, especially with the way the world is right now. If my predictions of the economy be correct, everything could change. So, affecting you. How will that look? I can speculate, but I don't know. So, but this is about you, this reading. This is literally just about you, in that you got to get yourself to a place where you're external to your problems, so that you can look at your problems with a fresh light. Because when you're in your problems, that's not the place to solve things. So if you have things that you need to address, first completely take yourself out of them. Think about what decisions you might have made in the past, now that you have the hindsight. When you had a younger mind and a different perspective about things, how might you have gone about your life as it is right now, and decisions you have to make and all that? Butterfly garden does kind of seem like that applies to what I was just saying about like putting yourself somewhere else, but I'll give an added message of meditation. So it could be a couple things too. Also, put yourself in nature, but if not physically, then mentally. Do meditations where you're outside, and so you could be inside, but you're literally envisioning yourself, let's say, in a butterfly garden. So some imagery I'm getting here that's pretty cool is the butterfly and her outfit are literally the same pattern. And the other thing I want to say is about the flower. Like, her expression is kind of like apathetic. Reminds me of the Four of Cups. And I'm kind of getting that, like, that might be one of your moods that you're shifting through, is apathy. You're just like, whatever. So she just seems kind of like, although in person, when I look at it, like, that was me looking at it through the camera, she kind of in person has a little bit of like a skeptical look, like a what's this all about? But yeah, there's also that message with the flower being kind of wilted, and the butterfly is trying to get nectar from the flower that's already on its way out. So I don't know, it's interesting imagery to me. Okay, remember when I said remember the owls, or notice the owls with Night Ride? Owls at night, if you see them, that can be a sign. Like, I had met with a friend, this was probably like over a year ago, for a Thai session at the place I used to do my sessions at. And as we both walked out at night, there was this owl that flew over us, but like really low, and got our attention, and we were like, wow. And me, I'm used to stuff like that, so I was just like, oh, cool. And she was like, oh my god, it's a sign, what we were talking about. And she went and looked it up, and she found all this owl meaning, symbology and stuff, and I'm just like, cool. I know, but it's not like, to me, it's just like, it takes a lot to get my attention nowadays. I first started seeing the repeated numbers, like synchronistic numbers, in 2011, and throughout all these years, I hardly ever look at the clock right at certain numbers anymore, except recently, like literally the last week, I started seeing the repeating numbers again: 333, 444, 1111, and I'm just like, oh, it's back again. So yeah, you might be seeing those too. Some people over the years are always like, I always see these numbers, and I'm like, I don't ever see these numbers anymore. It's weird. So, okay, protective nest. What am I getting for that? The first thing that came to me is just protect what you have. Reminds me of the message of the Four of Pentacles. Um, she's got that egg under her. She's a bird, kind of. She's got a feather dress, so it's like that kind of symbology. And these are her children, and she's protecting them. But then there's the bird on top. And I'm getting such a weird, weird message of like the bird on top is her partner, and he can shapeshift, and she does too. You're like, what are you talking about? So not that that's important. I was just like, that's what came to my head. So, what else could we say here? Let me pull some more. Like a bird. That's funny. That is funny. Okay, so what about I don't know if you watch Game of Thrones or not, but Three-Eyed Raven, and he can put himself in something else to see the view, like so he can become the third eye raven, and he projects into the crow, and then so that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is I said that before the card came out, like a bird. Isn't that weird? Like I said, nothing really shocks me, but that is a little weird. So yeah, like a bird. Again, it's weird. It's like when they say like birds of a feather. I feel like this is her partner, and they're like not able to be together because they're a different species. It sounds weird, right? Like you have this connection with somebody, but for whatever reason you can't make it work. So that's the kind of vibe I'm getting from this. But as depressing as that is, I'm getting the other message of it being a message to do a meditation. And like the butterfly garden, this is a different kind of meditation where you're putting yourself in the vantage of something else. So that way you get that bird's eye view of your situation. It kind of piggybacks off the message of step out of your situation to better see your situation. So, like a bird. What birds, you see, and then there's different birds that you could be. Like, say you're the owl. The owl has the night view. There's day birds, and then there's night birds, Okay. Let's see if I get anything else. White rose of hope. So, remember I said that situation is depressing? I'm not going to leave you on a bad note if that's your situation, okay? White rose of hope. Hope is a very interesting concept because hope is something you need to have when a situation is desperate, when a situation is out of your control, when a situation is depressing, right? And so you think, okay, there's no hope for my situation. The only hope there is for my situation is a miracle. It would take a miracle to resolve my situation. It would take a miracle to make this happen. But then, like a fairy tale kind of vibe I'm getting here with these cards. So I'm gonna roll with it. Like a fairy tale, by some magical force, these two are able to be together because she was turned into a bird, or the bird was turned into a human, or whatever. And it kind of reminds me of Shrek, right? So in Shrek, she was hiding the fact that she is an ogre. Once it came to light, it answered a lot of questions. And I feel like that's a thing too. Like there's some questions that need to be answered. There's a lot left to the imagination, which would be helped by having some answers. And if these answers are out of your grasp because you need them from another person. You know, if you are the one who needs, let's say, closure, you cannot pull closure out of somebody if they're unwilling to give it. And if you're a female, a lot of males have an issue with giving closure. I'm not sure exactly why. I think partially it's like they want to leave a door open just in case they change their mind one day or something. I don't think that's always the case, but I do think some guys are like that. And with females, it's a lot like when they don't want to give closure, it's because they just don't want to have that conversation. And that's for guys too sometimes. Like it's easier to just be silent than to say something. But for me in the past when I haven't given closure in circumstances, it was because I just felt like I couldn't put into words what it was that I felt. So it was easier, and that's literally the thing. It's easier to not give closure. So yeah, there's a lot. There was a lot of messages in there, some related, some not. But hopefully that gave you a little bit of something to go on. But the biggest thing I want to say is your messages reflect. So you have some introspection to do of varying types, depending on, you might have many types of introspection to do for many different things. Okay, so if you picked 2, also stick along. Stick along doesn't sound right. Stick around, I think is what I'm supposed to say, right? You know what I mean. Okay, pile 2. Let's start with your reading. Your card was strength. So either you are very strong or you need to pull that out of somewhere, out of thin air maybe. Okay, treasured memories. Sometimes memories can give you strength. You know, like you're having a hard time with something. And so you look back on a time that gave you strength, or that it gives you strength to reflect on. Pile 1, if you reflect also, then you know what I mean. That's, your message about the reflecting. Okay. Morning dew girl, home in the sky. And let's get another one. And another message I'm getting with treasured memories are, this is weird, right? Memories of the future. So I've talked about memories of the future before. I forget when and where, but it's a cool concept to me to think about, not knowing what's going to happen in the future, but sometimes knowing something's going to happen in the future can give you strength to go toward that. So it's like working backwards. Okay, last one is keys on trees, whatever the heck that means. Okay, so did I show you? Treasured memories. She has a cloud in a balloon. Looks like an air balloon with the pattern on it. She's not looking at the memories though. It's like she's holding it as her fuel to her motivation. Okay. Like, I remember when I had this amount of strength. Another message was strength that came through earlier, and I forgot to say it, was you might need to be the strength for someone else. Remember, put on your own oxygen mask first before you put on somebody else's. So, and then here's a really weird thing I just thought of with my ADHD brain, is if you listen to songs that have come out in the last couple of years, there's a lot of songs that reference a mask. And you don't notice it before because it wasn't relevant. But in hindsight, if you listen to a song, it's like, I think it was Stir Fry, and he's like something about take your mask off. And I was like, I don't know, it's weird. Weird. Okay, Totally random to your group. Okay, morning dew girl. She looks pissed. She's like, why the fuck am I up so early? I hate waking up to an alarm clock. Why do I have to do this grueling bullshit work? That's what she's saying. She feels like she has a job that's stupid and mundane, and she hates doing it. And she's literally like, she is like, what do you want? She's doing her job, and there's like a guy who just like whistled at her, and she's like, what? I don't know where that came from, but it's funny. But yeah, she's pissed. If you could see her face in person, you would agree. So this reminds me, the strength part, you might be in a phase right now where you just have to like muscle through it and just get through it because it's temporary. Well, hopefully it's temporary. Maybe you're thinking about and want to and need to shift your career. What do you do to pay for the roof over your head? And whatever it is that you do, you might not be happy with it. And if you're not happy with it and you're watching this pile, Spirit's like, hey, guess what? You should change what you do. And you're like, how? And I'm like, book a reading with me and we'll find out. And you're like, all right, I'm going to go to your website, newpathtarot.com, and I'm going to book a reading with you and find out what the hell I'm supposed to do in life. Okay, home in the sky. It reminds me of Avatar, where I'm like referencing all these movies today, where they have these like floating land masses. No message yet. Moving on. Okay, keys on trees. Keys on trees, just what came to me just now is like this idea of you, let's say you're on the ground, right? And you see these keys. It's like attainable because you can see it, but unattainable because you can't reach it. So it feels very future related to me. Like, you have goals, but there's things that need to line up to make them to happen. And you're just like in a, if not waiting period, a planning period, and or I know what I want, how do I make it happen? And you're just like, and then here's the other thing. Okay, here's an elephant in a cage at the very top, and the elephant has a key. Hopefully it's the key that will unlock the cage, right? But how the hell is the elephant gonna get down anyways? This feels like, to me, a difficult situation that you don't see a way. You're just like, this is what it is, FML. That's kind of what I'm seeing here. So this is going to require some out of the box thinking. It's going to require some assistance from others. You literally in this situation need like somebody to come by with a plane, a helicopter, to put some harness around the elephant and transport it. So it's possible to be done, but it's going to require some heavy lifting. So this might be a situation that there is no resolution for, because it's so out of your hands and you don't have the right connections and etc. So it sometimes just acknowledging like, I have a shit situation and there's nothing I can do about it, can help you feel better about it. This reminds me of somebody who lives with their parents. They don't have a job that they can support themselves on, so they're kind of stuck living with their parents. And I get these people as clients sometimes, and they're like, I live with parents who are narcissists, and like, I hate my life, and they're always messing with me and telling me this and this and this, really messing with their self-esteem. And I'm just like, man, the quicker you can get out of that situation, the faster your recovery will be, to where you're not being influenced by these people anymore. And when you're in that, you can't heal because it's fresh. It's like you're in the environment where it's happening. So yeah, sure, you can retreat to your room and you can listen to music, but then they're knocking on the door bugging you with their toxic shit. So I feel like you need to get out of whatever cage you're in that is keeping you back. And if you have multiple cages, because there's multiple keys here, start with something. Start with what's attainable. Sometimes you just need to free your mind, even if your circumstances suck. Okay? Everything is in your mind, literally. So, it's like even this existence is a cage. Your physical body is a cage, if you view it that way, if you're viewing it from a pessimistic standpoint, and I do now. So, yeah, sure, I am an optimist and blah blah blah, but I'm also a realist in some ways, to the point where I'm just like, why the fuck are we even here? This is bullshit. Okay, cool. New directions. So this is a good twist to the keys on trees, because imagine the elephants in this magical hat. It took some kind of magical intervention to get this situation out of the cage, off the top of the tower, all that sort of thing. Another thing that did come to me that I forgot to mention was this very visually looks like the tower card. And in the tower card is a lightning bolt and the tower crumbling and people jumping off. But in the tower card, the crown that's around the top of it is coming off. And so what if this is the pre-tower moment? And if that tower event were to happen, hopefully the elephant would survive the fall, you being the elephant. So you're not in a good situation to begin with. You can't free yourself. You're like, I need some kind of divine intervention to get me out of this. Boom, lightning crashes. Boom, you're out. Wasn't pleasant though. It crumbled the shit out of the building, but you're out. And it reminds me of bridges being burned. It reminds me of getting out of toxic relationships to the point where you're not in them anymore. You get what I'm saying? Like, you leave those. Doesn't matter who they were. But yeah, so there's that new directions. So what's in here? It's a guy. It looks like it's waving like the white flag of surrender. And if that's the case, it could mean a lot of different things, but it's almost like surrendering to the universe, like, okay, this is out of my hands, this is out of my control. And then what else? I don't know. This one guy's just out here doing his thing, this guy's doing his thing. Everybody's clearly on different pages here. And that's probably you guys. You have your own, different ways of going about this. But back to the strength card, that's what's required here. You need to draw on your inner strength. And if you don't have any, then you need to draw on the strength of your beliefs of higher power, spirit, universe, God, angels, whatever. Okay, the journey. So this isn't something that is new to you. You've been doing this a while. You've been on this path a while. You've probably made some progress. If you've gotten out of your cage tower, then, you are on your way. But where are you on the journey is going to be different for each person, such as in this card. Each person is experiencing it differently, depending on their own circumstances. And everybody views things different from their own filter of what they've experienced in their life and their culture and everything else. My clients that are in, let's say, India, are so much different than American clients, because a lot of times I see situations of arranged marriage, and they're like, my family wants me to marry this person and I don't want to. And I'm like, okay, then don't. Right? From my American filter. So I had a friend who's Indian who was arranged marriage to some Indian guy that she never met. And she said, no, I don't think so. And she went and joined the Marines. And that's where we met. But, and then she married a white guy. And she totally rebelled against her family. And that might be something you need to do, is totally rebel against your family and cut them off if they're toxic. But when that's your culture and it's ingrained, and how do you go and support yourself free from anything you've ever known and just say, screw this, I'm going on my own? For me, it was really easy to do so, but not so much if that's ingrained in your whole self, everything that you've experienced so far. Okay, the journey. The rose in her hair and around the animal's neck, the deer, right? That's a deer. They're the same. She's like, she's made this her little pet. She's like, I'm gonna put a little bow on you and I'm gonna control everywhere you go. I feel like that's you. Like you've had somebody like pulling your strings like you're a puppet and trying to control you. And that's not your bag anymore. You're like, yeah, I think I'm done with that. Okay, so that's it for you guys. And if you're pile 3, we'll start with you. Okay, pile 3. Secrets. Your main card was Ascension. Ooh, Ascension and secrets. Secrets. What's this all about? I want to know. I want to know the secret. Do you have a secret? Or is it a secret kept from you? My dear friend. Okay. Tiny triumphs. Sleeping Beauty's dream. Ascension and anything talking about a dream. Oh yeah, well, I'll just do 4 like I did with the other groups, and then I pick more after. Okay, let's talk about secrets first. Secrets. She's got keys in her hand. She's got the moon with a keyhole in it. She's waiting for the right time for the secrets to be revealed. And Ascension. Who's orchestrating the secrets to be revealed that are beyond our control? They're being kept from us. You get what I'm saying? If you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, but I'll talk about it. My dear friend. My dear friend. Play on words. Something about words being... Words getting your attention. There's certain words that when you hear them, you go... It's like a key for you that opens something. Like it makes your brain go. You hear a word that's specific to you, and when you hear it, you go, "Who said that? What are you talking about? What was the context?" Okay. Tiny triumphs. It's a mouse in human clothes. Well, human clothes, like clown clothes, but larger than life. A mouse that's human sized. Human hands even. Maybe it's a human with a mask on. Mask, right? Just freaking hot topic of the world right now. Don't wear a mask. They're controlling you. Wear a mask, you selfish asshole. That's the world right now, if you're watching currently. Okay. Sleeping Beauty's dream. Lots of secrets. Okay. So, your reading, we're going to talk about my controversial stuff that I like to not talk about openly, maybe, but somewhat. So, I know, and you may know already, that there are certain things that are being brought to light in this world soon and upcoming, and hopefully overdue, by the way. And I'm kind of skirting around it because I don't want to like go weird on you guys, but I will say, like, I can't wait for this stuff to get exposed because it's going to change a lot of things. And like I said in pile 1, if you saw that, I was talking about, I'm predicting that the global market is going to crash at some point in the future, and it's going to change everything. This is going to change everything too. If it happens first, it'll change everything because of all who is going to be exposed and what all is going to be brought to light. And when it's known as fact as opposed to conspiracy, it's going to really wake people up. Literally, they're gonna shock. They're probably gonna, like, some people are gonna be in denial even when it's like blatantly in their face as proof, and they're gonna still be in their cognitive dissonance. Fine, whatever. But anybody with half a brain who has self-researched this stuff, it's already out there, and it's proven now, legit. So it's just a matter of time before the specific individuals and entities are exposed. And when I say entities, I don't mean like spiritual entities. I mean like corporations and global stuff. So that is topic 1. Topic 2 of secrets that's now in our faces is UFOs. There's just an article today, and I think the New York Times, that is talking about some stuff is about to be released. What that stuff is, what it means to be fact. Because here's the thing, you guys. They have admitted there's UFOs. They don't just fly themselves. And if they're coming out and saying we legit have, they're coming. Why? That's what my question is. Why are they coming out with it now? Like, why is this now being admitted? Probably because it's going to be undeniable soon, and they know it, and they're trying to get ahead of it. They've denied it all along because it was like they could get away with it, but what is about to be exposed that they need to get in front of it is my question. They're slowly warming us up to the idea, and in hindsight they'll be like, well, we told you guys. Oh, what? You knew about it, but nobody cared, or whatever. It's like gaslighting us. So if I were you, I would be looking into this stuff. I wouldn't just be living my normal existence right now. And I'm kind of half looking into stuff, but I'm kind of half just letting it come to me, and whatever I'm meant to see, because I've got a whole lot of other stuff going on in real life, and so do you. So if you haven't been looking into this stuff, you personally want to be a step above it, instead of being like, what? This is real? Whoa, And this has to do with the ascension of individuals and the planet. And I would not be surprised if UFOs and those that pilot them are going to be assisting with the ascension of the planet in some way, whether directly or indirectly. How that looks and what that means, I don't know. But I can speculate, but I'm not going to, because what's the point? So those of us who have already gone through our awakening, at least one of them, one awakening, understand things from a different perspective to begin with. So you can kind of understand where I'm going with this. The implications of secrets being revealed mean that people are going to be waking up, and those of us who are already have been awoken will be holding the space for those who are yet to go through it. And so when people start saying things like, holy crap, did you know that, and you're going to be like, yep, I've known about this for freaking like 10 years or however long. And welcome to the party. Welcome to the head trip. And then you're going to have people going through their dark night of the soul, because their whole reality and existence is going to crumble, because everything that they thought to be true is going to all of a sudden be not true, really, you know? Okay. And there we go with Sleeping Beauty's dream. Okay. I've said this on another video recently. If you happen to pick that pile where I said it, I was like, hey, guess what? This reality, literally in quotes, is a illusion. Like, this is something that, thank God we're in the times we're in, where you can get on Wikipedia and search for Maya, which is the illusion. And you can search for, you know, I love the idea of the Hindu religion. Hinduism is possibly the closest thing to what I believe, because it explains things so well. But Tibetan Buddhism with Bardo and the stages of Bardo, and I mean all these different things, I like to find, they have basically very detailed answers for the things that we in Western society are just clueless about. Are we on a cycle of endless birth and rebirth? If so, how do you get out of that cycle? Is by enlightenment. And therefore, if you don't reach enlightenment in this lifetime, it's implied that you are going to be reincarnated again into this shit show. So, you know, if everything crumbles and then gets rebuilt for better, which is kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen, then it wouldn't be so bad to be reincarnated. But if things keep going to crap and we end up nuking ourselves, then we're screwed. So I can talk about that, how screwed we possibly can be if we don't have a planet to incarnate to and we're just disincarnate souls. That would suck. I could talk about how we, you know, come from a long line of existence to the point where we have lived on other planets that some starseeds, their planet did explode because their technology got so great. People got warped, they destroyed the planet, you know, that sort of thing. We could talk about those souls who are so much lighter and more pure because they came from planetary systems that were all love and light, you know. We can talk about a whole bunch of shit, really. I could talk about this all day. You name one topic and I can go on a tangent about it. There's hardly any spiritual type topic that I'd go, what? I've never heard of that before. Although there are a few. I'll give you one that threw my mind through a loop. In 2016-ish, before Trump got elected, I have a friend who said she loves Trump. And I was like, wait, what? And she goes, Trump is a light worker sent here to blah, blah, blah. I was like, wait, what? Trump is a light worker? Huh? So she kind of explained it to me. Now here we are in 2020, and I keep running into people who think Trump is a light worker. If you're sitting here watching me saying Trump is a light worker, I'm going to tell you my view on that, okay? If he's a light worker, he's doing it unconsciously. And if you don't agree with me, sorry, but come on, face the facts. If you believe Trump is a light worker and you're starting to have doubts that maybe you were wrong about that, it's okay. You can change your opinion. You can change your belief on things, because I'm sorry, he's doing too many fucked up things to be a light worker. Sorry. Just saying, people are getting kidnapped on the streets right now. If you didn't know, it's not a secret. That's the thing I'm getting about the secrets. They were secrets. And what happens when secrets are in daylight? They're not secrets anymore. But some people don't even want to, they just want to keep believing their thing, whatever their thing is. So is Trump a light worker? Okay, cool, but he's not consciously a light worker. He's not. Sorry. Prove me wrong, but I don't want to hear it, because guess what? I've heard it. I've had people try to convince me on this, and I'm like, stop it. Just stop it. Okay, so there's that. Like I said, I was going to get a little controversial topics in your group. But is he being used as a front person to help expose things? Maybe. See, I'm not so black and white. I think it can be both. I think he's an idiot, but he could be being used, because he's not that political puppet like Biden will be if he gets elected. Freaking status quo, same as always. If Trump stays elected, will he continue to be used to bring to light things? Will he continue to be used to bring upon World War III? Yeah, he will. So if we want to see the crumble to trigger the rebuild, Trump's probably better for that. So was Trump divinely orchestrated? Maybe, if you're talking Ascension. Not if you're talking keeping things the way they were, because nothing is the way it was in 2016. And it wasn't Trump who triggered it, but it's Trump who kept it going and has exacerbated it to the point where it has turned into what it is currently and will continue to be turning into, because he's doing things that are unconstitutional. He's doing what they consider to be war crimes. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just look it up. So I'm not saying things that are not true. Sorry, he's not a light worker consciously. The end. Okay. So tiny triumphs to me is where I feel things are right now, where those of us who have already gone through our awakening see things from a different perspective. So we can say, okay, this is what the facts are that are being presented to us. But what does that mean, really? And how does that affect things globally? How does it affect the people I'm interacting with? Literal best friends at each other's throats. Literal family at each other's throats over the mask thing. So we've become enemies of each other, which is keeping us distracted from being enemies, uniting and being enemies against the actual true enemy, which is secrets being kept from us. That's the truest enemy, is keeping us in servitude to the system and blindly at that. Hollywood goes, here's entertainment to keep you happy. Watch this movie. Oh, by the way, we're going to put truth in it, but because it's in a movie, if you think, ooh, this is real, you're going to look stupid. It's just a movie, you know? Sleeping Beauty's dream, though, let's go back to that. This being an illusion. When you die from here, you will think of it as a dream. It's a different kind of dream than when we go to sleep at night, true. But saying that it's a dream is the easiest way to define it and relate it to something that, everybody does dream, even if they say, I don't dream. They've had at least one dream in their life they can remember. It's a common thing amongst us all that we can identify with. Imagine if you were the only one who had dreams. You'd feel really weird. You'd feel like alone, and like literally you'd be like, wait, when you go to sleep, you don't dream about anything? You don't see pictures in your head? You don't play out scenarios? Things don't happen? No, you're the only one. Oh my God, what's wrong with me? Notice when you're the only one who experiences something, you feel crazy. So, however, when everybody experiences something, then you're like, okay, so I'm not weird. I'm normal. All right, everybody goes through this. Okay, such as a dark night of the soul. Anybody on a spiritual path is going to go through at least one dark night of the soul. Yours might be mild. You might have many. So, and what triggers them and what they're about is different to each person. And that's the thing about a spiritual journey anyway, is it looks different for everybody. So that's why it's not cookie cutter. Like the book, there's no book that goes Ascension 101. And then, it's like following it along and you're like, oh, I'm on page 82. So this dream that we're co-collectively, and that's the other thing that's interesting about it, is when you go to sleep at night, it's generally just you that has that experience. And if you have a dream about somebody else and you would go to them and be like, hey, I had a dream about you last night and this happened, they'd be like, oh, weird, cool. But they wouldn't be like, oh yeah, I remember, I was there too. And then remember when this happened and then that happened? And I'm not to say that that's not possible, but just saying that when we come out of this experience, we get to talk to each other about it and compare notes kind of thing, and like we remember it. But then imagine immediately having also the awareness of the afterlife and all the things you forgot about it and the facts and the details, and also remembering all your past lives too that you've already experienced, and being all of a sudden like, oh my God, it's just like the other dream. Yeah, the other life that we lived. Remember when that happened? And then you probably will understand karma, because in this life, when you're born into something that sucks and you feel like a victim, you're like, why did I have to experience that as a child? That's messed up. No child should ever have to experience that. What did I ever do to deserve that? Well, what they say is it's your karma from another life, and you did something that you needed to experience that in order to balance the karmic scales. Do I believe that? Maybe. The jury's out. But I do know that in the afterlife that will be answered for sure, where I'll be able to say once and for all, okay, what did I do to deserve that, if anything? And the answer will be either remember that life, and I'll go, oh, that's right. Or it will be nothing, that just you got a crappy hand, sorry, which I'm kind of tending to lean to. But the other way you can address those questions is by reading your Akashic records, which I personally have not dug into my own as to why did I have the childhood I had. But it is possible to be done from the human level of understanding. Not that understanding of once you like I've said in other readings, if you did listen to this part, when you're in the situation, you can't see the situation clearly. So the reason for going to Akashic Records is because you can look at the situation from that higher perspective. You're taking yourself out of your story. and you're looking at your story unobjectively from the outside. Okay. Something interesting about the Sleeping Beauty's dream is all of the, whatever that is, the brush around the buildings, and the buildings look abandoned and run down. It's like, but then there's roses that are coming out of it, so it's like there's some silver lining to it, but for the most part, I don't think this is like a good dream. When she wakes up from it, she's gonna be happy. She's gonna be like, ah, that sucked. That was a shitty dream. Okay. My dear friend. I mean, other than the obvious of having friends that you can talk to about stuff like this, maybe you have a friend who's going to be going through an ascension of their own. Maybe you will help them through that, you know. But on the other hand, having a friend who is already had gone through it would be a good thing too, if you know anybody like that. Transformation. You have to transform in order to ascend. You cannot be a caterpillar and ascend. You have to be the butterfly. And the ascension is actually becoming the butterfly. And the metamorphosis of the caterpillar turning into goo in order to reform into the butterfly is the dark night of the soul. Have fun with that. AKA midlife crisis. Some people would, you know, that's the non-spiritual way to word it. Midlife being relative. What is midlife anymore? If you live to be 150, midlife, you know, usually people go through their midlife crisis in their mid-30s. So I'm in my I'm not in my mid-30s anymore. I'm in my late 30s, but my midlife crisis was like in my early 30s to mid-30s. So yeah, whatever. Okay. Touch the sky. So if you picked pile 2 also, there was the tower with the elephant in it, and it reminded me of Rapunzel. I forgot to mention that, but definitely this one does. Touch the sky. She's in the sky. She's above the sky. She's out of the box. She is literally out of the box. She's clearly in spirit form, but she's sending a thing down to you to, like, here, grab onto this, I'll pull you up. So there's a lot of messages you can get from this that are kind of related to that idea of she's if you think of her like, you know, a spirit guide, and she looks amused too. You might not be amused, but she is, because she sees the future, you know, how things are looking, and she's like, you're gonna be okay, I promise. You'll get through this. Also, notice the birds in the sky, but then she has the bird on her shoulder. There's so much symbology in this card, I couldn't even, like, I could just go on this card for like a long time. But it'd be cool if you'd get your own messages out of this one, because I'm actually going to leave it on that note. This is the last card. But remember, it says touch the sky. So you are not in this picture. You're the one who's at the bottom of this. What are you going to do with it? And what does it mean to you? And the biggest thing I have to say to you is, though you are either going through your own transformation or you're going to be helping others with theirs, that's separate from the ascension of the planet that's occurring right now, with the secrets being exposed and all that stuff. And if you have a friend, like the My Dear Friend card, you know, if you have a friend that you can not go through this alone, somebody who you can bounce things off of, somebody who understands, maybe somebody who's been through it before you, so a mentor, then, you know, that'll help you accelerate and go through it quicker so that you can be on the other side of it. And if you're helping, if you're the friend for somebody else going through it, then make sure you're good. You stay grounded, but be aware of what's going on in the world and offer your perspective of things, but don't get caught up in the drama of everybody's opinions and their fear-based mentalities, because that's what's going around right now. Fear and people turning against people. So there's a lot of, I would say, energy eruptions with civil rights going on right now. And it needs to happen. And I'm so glad it's happening. And I'm so glad secrets are being exposed and will be, hopefully, here in the very near future. And what that means for everybody who hears this, and then what will happen as a result of that being exposed. I'm here for it. I can't wait. So, if you have any questions or want a reading or whatever, you know how to find me. Good luck to you all out there in this crazy world. Keep your head straight. See ya.